Thank you, Travis. Good evening, viewers, and welcome to tonight's regional news. We begin with a story from Brazil. Brazil's judicial watchdog agency says it is investigating a judge who stopped an 11-year-old rape victim from getting an abortion, a procedure that advocates insist is allowed in a South American nation for rape cases at any stage of pregnancy. Santa Catarina State Judge Joanna Zimber was filmed at a hearing on May 9th asking the child whether she understood how pregnancies happen, referring to her rapist as the father of the baby, asking her to hold on a little more to save it, and even suggesting a name should be picked. The girl repeatedly said she did not want to give birth. Abortion rights are expected to be one of the big issues in Brazil's presidential election in October, which will pit far-right President Jair Bolsonaro. The case, reported by the website The Intercept Brazil last week, prompted associations of magistrates and human rights groups to request that the country's National Council of Justice remove Zimmer from her post. Lawyer Daniela Felix, who represents the 11-year-old's family, said the child, who was 10 at the time she was raped, this year only noticed her pregnancy in its 22nd week. The child's mother took her to the hospital in the city to get an abortion, but doctors said they could perform the procedure only up to the 20th week of pregnancy. Felix said the family took the case to the court within days, where Zimmer not only refused to allow the abortion but isolated the girl from her family in a state shelter. Some anti-abortion activists argue that health ministry recommendations urge 20 to 22-week limit on abortions, but Felix and other lawyers noted the law itself makes no mention of a limit in the case of rape victims or when the woman's life is in danger. Over to news from Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago's child protection system has just received a boost with the launch of an innovative, globally recognized case management system, which will allow caseworkers to act more effectively to safeguard children who have faced abuse and neglect. In an official statement, the Child's Authority reported that the Child Premio Child Protection Information Management System is a web-based platform that will streamline the processing of cases, including registration, assessments, and referrals. The program brings together UNICEF and the Children's Authority of Trinidad and Tobago under the UN Spotlight Initiative, a global program with generous support from the European Union, which seeks to reduce gender-based and family violence. Confidentiality, data protection, and knowledge sharing will also be improved. The authority references a recent Spotlight survey on violence against children, in which respondents reported that such violence is widespread and generally accepted, especially for physical and emotional abuse. The survey reported that 70 to 75% of the respondents said they had seen a child hit or shoved. 72% were aware of cases of sexual abuse against girls, and 36% said the same concerning boys. Now for some international news from the United Kingdom. Prime Minister Boris Johnson has announced a £25 million of UK aid backing for a new fund to ensure the world is better prepared to defeat future pandemics, says 10 Downing Street. The COVID-19 pandemic has led to at least 6.2 million deaths across the world and caused far-reaching economic devastation. Stopping a pandemic like this ever happening again will require a concerted and coordinated international effort. At the G7 summit Monday, leaders are expected to discuss the importance of helping countries manage COVID as an endemic disease and pressing the need to invest in preparedness and other measures to prevent history from repeating itself. According to the Prime Minister's office, the new fund will help fill some of the financing gaps exposed by COVID-19, particularly insufficient financing for preparedness in the national health systems and disease surveillance at country, regional, and global levels. Crucially, the fund can help catalyze countries' own financing so the world is as equipped as possible whenever or wherever a new public health risk emerges. And now for a final story from the United States. The U.S. Supreme Court voted Friday to strike down Roe v. Wade, the landmark 1973 decision that guaranteed the right to an abortion. In the 5-4 decision, the court ruled that the Constitution does not confer a right to abortion. Abortion laws and restrictions vary by state. And now the federal protection has been overturned. Abortion will not be accessible everywhere in the United States. Some states have triggered laws in place that immediately ban abortion once Roe was overturned. Others guarantee the right to an abortion via laws or constitutional amendments. Here is where abortion laws stand in two states. In Alabama, the 2019 Human Life Protection Act, which had been held by an injunction, was allowed to go into effect Friday. It makes it unlawful for any person to intentionally perform or attempt to perform an abortion unless an abortion is necessary in order to prevent a serious health risk to the unborn child's mother. In Arizona, a pre-Roe versus Wade law bans abortion except when the mother's life is endangered. Governor Doug Ducey in April signed a law banning abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy that will go into effect. That has brought us to the end of tonight's regional news. Thank you for watching. Back to you, Travis.